Hullin Daf Bet Amud Aleph. 15 lines down. My Rabbi Shmuel and my Rabbi Akiva. We mentioned before is Mahlok between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shmuel. Then it says V'chol asher yiga al pnei hasada, anything that touches the field. If it's a corpse, you have to be tamei for 7 days. L'otzi ubar b'me'ayisha, that excludes the fact that it's in the field. The fact that it says it on the field, it excludes a fetus inside the mother. You're not tamei. The Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Shmuel. The Rabbi Akiva mer l'rabot kolel of the fact. No, and it comes to include even the cover or the wall of the coffin has the ability to make someone tamei. Now, Rabbi Shmuel comes to Rabbi Shmuel, go live with the Vek, I don't need to teach you coffin and walls of the coffin because that's the cover in the wall of the coffin because I know that from Moshe. By Har Sinai. Rabbi Akiva comes to Rabbi Akiva, Ubar B'meh Ishet Tameh. He holds a fetus in the mother's womb, is Tameh. That's why they don't hold like each other. Now, the question is, right to that? How does Rabbi Akiva know from the Torah that a dead fetus in the womb is Tameh? Amar Rabbi Yashaya, Amar Kala Pasuk says, Anno Raya Bemet Benefesh. If you touch a corpse in a soul, Bemet Benefesh sounds like with the corpse, with the soul. Ezuma met Benefesh Shadam. What type of corpse is inside a human? This must be a proof that the Isha, that the fetus inside the woman's womb is Tameh. Rabbi Shmuel can Ishmael explain the pasuk. Ami ba'aleh the revi'it dam haba'am metameshim tumah. This no, that pasuk is teaching something else. A revi'it of dam, a revi'it of blood that comes from a dead body that has tumah. You might think only the body itself. Therefore, it's telling you that if a quarter of a revi'it, a quarter of a revi'it of blood that comes out of a corpse also has tumah like a bone. What's the human soul that transmits tumah? Have omer, that is, zuru idam is refers to the re'ita blood. And that's because that's the minimum amount of a human. That's why it's considered like the soul of a human. Rabbi Akiva and also Pasuk says in general, ki adam hi nafesh. So we see that blood is can be considered part of the soul. That's his proof. Rabbi Akiva, that means Rabbi Akiva follows on reason. After we eat them, he knows two, even if we eat them, a half of it eat of blood that comes from two different corpses. So half and half, or an eighth of that we eat of each, also can be tamah, like a regular corpse. Tiny verse Rabbi Akiva, I don't know if Rabbi eat them from two different people, tamah. I'll call nafshot met level, dead souls. I have two souls. Versus two souls, one measure, which means Rabbi Adam split between two dead people. The animals having difficult labor, but fetus stuck out its leg and you cut it off. The mother. The remaining meat of the fetus is tahor. The mother, then you cut off the leg. The flesh of the fetus, which was attached to the limb that were sticking out as tamebis, l'nevilah. David Meir condemned Meir. How many say no? We had before. Magat terefa, that flesh is considered like terefa that was slaughtered. Now, mamatzinu b'terefa. Where do we find this regarding the terefa? The shehita purifies it, does not become tameh when it dies. After shehita ever. So therefore, how many say this? Slaughter of the mother also should make it from not becoming nevilah. Rameir says, Rameir, no, let. If the shehita of the terefa stops the animal from getting tarif, the flesh should be gufa. That's something from his own body. To the ivory, you can't also purify the limb. The gufa, it's not part of the body. Okay, minan terefa shehita is mitan. I know that a terefa that is slaughtered, a shehita slaughters it, meaning even though you can't eat it, it seemingly does purify it from being tameh. Be'emat tameh also because a non-kosher animal that is not allowed to be eaten. Utrefa also terefa. Right, this is the reason why it should not be purified. It should be tameh. Why? Because a non-kosher animal is asur to be eaten, and also a terefa is asur to be eaten. It's like a non-kosher animal. If you slaughter it, doesn't do anything. It's still tameh. After terefa, lo terefa terefa. So terefa also should not be tameh. Mar says la. It's not a good proof. Even a non-kosher animal, it's never. It was never eligible for shechita. That's why shechita doesn't do anything. You can never slaughter a pig. Tomorrow terefa, but a terefa, at one point it was fit for shechita. That's why shechita still could help it. Tomorrow says, Tola ma take away this proof. Doesn't make sense. If the animal was born a terefa, it was never fit for shechita. Minayin, how would you say that? So would that be a case of terefa that's tameh? It's not a good proof. Tomorrow says, la. Even more by a non-kosher animal, shekin in bimina shechita. This is an animal. This is um a um logical answer that we'd all give. It's like, oh no, you can't compare that. Don't give me that answer. A non-kosher animal never has shechita in general of its kind. To my terefa, but a terefa, a kosher animal. So yes, bimina shechita. They're among that type of animal. There is shechita. That's why it's purified, even though it's taref. Ben Shmona Hai, an 8-month fetus that is born alive even to a kosher animal, the Acha is En Shechitato, Mitarato. The Shechita does not take away the Nigla. The fish En Bimino Shechita, because there's no such thing as finding a kosher Shechita for it. We hold that an 8-month fetus is considered a non-viable, automatically taref. It's considered dead. Therefore, if you slaughter it, it's still considered taref, and therefore even slaughtering doesn't help to make it to a tuma because it holds it's not eligible to be eaten. Now, there is Amai. Why do we say that it's tameh in the Mishnah? We mentioned that it's tameh anywhere by the where the limb is being protruding. Tumat betas teterimi. If whatever is inside touching that part that's sticking out, that's considered tumah and concealed in place. Betumat betas teterim lo matayah. Tumah of concealed area does not make tameh. Let it make tameh. Therefore, we say Ramir should follow his own reasoning that tumah does have can make tameh in concealed place. You have a 3 by 3 type of garment that became tameh midrash, so like a nida or a zav sarat. Tahor min midrash. So if it got split in half, tahor midrash in each part is tahor because it's not big enough to be a garment. Aval tameh be'agam midrash, but it's considered tameh for touching a midrash, less level. Dir mer kotamer. Amar Yosef says, "V'chi is a midrash negaba." Which midrash did it touch? Meaning, he's like, yes, um, it can't be tameh because if it can't be eligible for sitting on it as a garment because it's too small, so why would it be tameh even for touching? Ella he holds she'im nagabo zav. If the zav touched this garment before this 3 by 3 got split up beyond the minimum, she tameh naga zav is considered a tuma of touching a zav. We see from Meir holds that tuma can be transferred in a concealed area, and Rabbi says no. The rest is lab, it's my lab. You sit over there now. Marula, Loshmer, it only applies by 3 by 3 that it got split in half because it's too small. But let's say you have a 3 by 3 garment that came from a larger garment, meaning a larger garment became tameh, then a 3 by 3 patch got ripped off, which is still considered eligible for tumah. In this case, the main garment was a midras, but the piece that got ripped off is tahor because it's not tumah midrash because it's small, but it's considered tameh because it's touched the midrash. At the moment they got separated from the main garment, it became tumah from the main garment by touching it. When they got separated from the limb that was sticking out, it touched that limb, and therefore it becomes tameh. Yes, I would agree. A limb, a garment does not usually get cut. Therefore, until it's actually cut, it's considered like a concealed area. But the fetus is meant to be cut. Anything that's meant to be cut, can be considered already cut. One who's according to anywhere where the handles of the utensil is long, you were planning to cut it down, you can dip it in mikveh until where you want to keep it. So if let's say you have a massive handle and you want to cut it, so you want to just slice. You want to, so you have, you want, okay, the handle's a foot long. I'll make it 6 inches long. So you don't have to dip it until the foot long handle. You only have to dip it 6 because you're planning on cutting it off. Actually, politically, you have to dip the whole thing. So the mayor holds that we see from here that the mayor holds that if it's going to be cut off, it's considered cut. That's why you only have to dip till 6. And therefore, we should say maybe it's against Hamim. The Gemara says against Hamim. Yes, I feel the Gemara says that. I feel even Hamim would agree. Foods that are attached to something, but it's meant to be cut. It's considered already cut, even for Hamim. That's why the animal is different than the utensil. When you get it's considered it's touching, and that's why it is tameh. Okay. Now, Bishlam Ula makes sense according to Ula, who said that the the contact's happening in an open area because it's touching as it's being cut. That's why Mishnah specifically mentioned that it's if you cut the limb, it's tameh. But if you not cut it, it's not tameh. Ella Ravina, according to Ravina, my hatacha, what's the difference if you cut it? It's tameh even before you cut it. Gemara said, "Adi tamer resha hatacha, not tamer seveh hatacha." True, we didn't need to mention it, but we mentioned it anyhow because the other case the Mishnah mentioned cut. That's part of Mishnah. But Muhammad said, "Maga terefa shahota." The flesh that is tameh on touching a slaughtered terefa. Gemara said, "Terefa shahota mitamya." Is a terefa animal that is slaughtered or transferred to ma? Well, yes, because Abu Ishmael like Shmuel's father, Amar Abu Ishmael, terefa shahota mitamya. He holds that. Tehran, the terrifying animal that's slaughtered, transmits to Tum'ah if it was kadosh.